I'm sorry this whole thing has happened. I wish we could all change this. Let me ask you a couple of questions if I can.
Sure.
If I'm not mistaken, you attended GCU, Grand Canyon University. Well, tell me a little bit about what did you do at GCU? What was your plan?
I was working on my doctoral degree in educational leadership.
Hmm.
But now that it's all said and done, I found out it's not accredited. I found out I should not have even been in that program. But when I spoke to Allison Rogers, she was my advisor. She's the one who got me enrolled. And she told me, I said, well, I was asking her what field should I have gone into. She said, it does not matter because I told her what I want to do about being a superintendent. She said, it does not matter as you have that doctorate, that doctor, in front of your name.
So Allison was when you say counselor, you mean your admissions representative counselor.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes, my admission. Correct.
And so you say, you're telling me that she told you that you could get your doctorate degree and now you're in Georgia, is that correct?
I'm in Georgia, yes.
So they told you that you would be able to get the improvement you were looking for in your state as a teacher. And if I'm not mistaken, your goal was to go to become an administrator. Is that right?
Yeah, I want to be a superintendent of a school system.
Now, if I think I have a letter that you sent me. Is that right?
You should. Yes, I think I did.
Tell me about that letter.
Now, I'm trying to remember which letter it was. Oh, I know. It was the letter. Okay. After I found, like I told you, I found out through one of my classmates that she attended GCU. I met her at residency. Well, we formed this group and we all kept in touch. And she had gotten her master's from GCU. She was a special education teacher. Well, once she got her degree, she became a special education coordinator. A year later, the state of Michigan came back and told her that she would either have to go back to be, downgraded to a teacher, or they was going to have to let her go. So that's when she contacted us to let us know that we need to check our state to see if our degrees would be accredited in the state of Georgia. Hers was just a master, but she was working on her doctorate. Well, I contacted the Georgia Professional Standards Commission, which in the state of Georgia, if you're in any type of education, you have to go through, the Georgia Performance Standards Commission. So I contacted them because I wanted to find out, if it was accredited in my state. So when I contacted them, I told them, I said, I'm trying to find out, is Grand Canyon accredited in the state of Georgia? Because I just found out from a friend it's not accredited in the state of Michigan. She said, ma'am, she said, no, she said, Grand Canyon universities are not accredited in higher education in the state of Georgia. So no, I called back and I spoke with...
to interrupt, I'm sorry. That's actually...
Oh, that's okay.
That is quite significant. What you just said is she said, this is the representative from the Department of Education in Georgia, that Grand Canyon University is not accredited for their state.
In higher education.
In higher education.
Yes, in the state of Georgia.
Does that mean you cannot become licensed using their degrees?
Not in higher education. You cannot. You can get the degree, but it's worthless. It's not accredited. It's not accredited. And that was my thing. We were never told this because when she called me, when Allison called me, she called me and she just made it sound so good. She made it so easy to get enrolled. She did everything. She did everything. I was enrolled probably in like 3 or 4 days. I was enrolled in Grand Canyon. It was, I'll say, 4 days at the most. And so, and I asked her about it, and the thing about it, once now that, we went back and we started researching, Grand Canyon, their higher education degrees are only offered in like 4 different states. And I know New Mexico is one of them. And so, and can you, and all the people that I met during my residency from all these different states, North Carolina, Arkansas, Virginia, all these different places, it's a waste of our time and money because we can't do anything with those degrees. So when I called, after I talked to the Georgia Professional Standards Commission, I called, and my Kenya Benai, she was my advisor at the time. So I called Kenya and I said, well, Kenya, I said, I contacted the department, I'm at the Georgia Professional Standards Commission, and they told me that the degrees were not accredited in the state of Georgia in higher education. So she, in the beginning, she tried to act like she didn't know. But then she go on to tell me, she said, oh, well, you know what? I know what you can do. I know someone that just filled out this form. It's called a Georgia Level 6 form. Mm-hmm. And what this form is, if you have at least 32 doctoral hours, you send your paper in the Grand Canyon, they sign and say that, you know, you're great, you know, you're doing well in school. You send it to, I would have sent it to the, I had to give it to my school system, because my school system was one that would pay, you know, if to get this level 6, because with the level 6, it would give you the administrative pay.
Right.
So I filled the form out. I took it to my school board of education. So she did everything. She sent it to the Georgia Professional Standards Commission. And I'm thinking this is the letter that I sent you, because it was Grand Canyon and they're not accredited. They denied me. So I couldn't even get my leadership pay still, because it was Grand Canyon. Now, if it had been a school that was accredited, which she didn't tell me that, she just told me she knew somebody that they had done that for, and she wanted me to do it. And so I did, but I was shot down with that also. And I'm like, okay, well, why would you even tell me this if you knew it wasn't gonna happen? And what really got me more than anything is when I called them and I told them that I was withdrawing. I said, because there's no sense, and why would I stay in here and work on a degree that's worthless? Mm-hmm. I said, it's a waste of time. She said, well, I tell you what, she said, well, since you don't think, you know, you want to continue, she said, why don't you just take one class? She said, all you need is one class to get your EDS. That's my leadership degree. And I told her, I said, why would I give you any more money for another worthless degree that's still higher education? It's worthless. So why would I give you any more money? And, you know, and it's things like this. You know that the doctoral degree was not accredited. Then you knew that they were not going to give me the level 6 because it was Grand Canyon. And then you want me to do one more class and get an EDS. That's more money for a worthless degree.
What is an EDS?
It's like your educational leadership degree. It's a degree. Say, if I had my EDS, I could become a principal. I could become the principal and administrator with the EDS. And that's what I should have had. I found out after the fact. In order for me to do leadership, the doctoral leadership program, I was supposed to have had an EDS. Because, like, if I decided to go to another university, which every university I have contacted, they will only accept one of those classes out of the 20. They will only accept one. And so after I contacted them and they told me, I was like, well, I can't. That would be like me starting all over again. Mm-hmm. And so when I talked to her name is Tressa Brown. She's from Walden. And see, a lot of people at my school have gone through Walden and gotten their EDS, and they also have a doctoral program. So when I talked to Tressa, she said, number one, Debra, you shouldn't have been in that program anyway. She said, because your degree is in elementary education, middle school education, and special education. She said, you should have done your doctorate in one of those 3 areas. She said, in order for you to have done it in leadership, you should have had your EDS, your leadership degree. So I'm telling you, when I tell you they have made my life a living hell. They have made my life a living hell. It's been awful. Because I sit here and I think about, okay, I spent $65,000. I cannot pay this money back. How can I pay this money back and I can't even get the job because I can't get the degree that I was pursuing. I can't. There's no way.
Now, how many classes did you finish with GCU?
We had to do, what was it? Was it 60 hours? I think we had to do. I think it was 60 hours. I did all my classes, both of my residencies, and 3 dissertation classes. That's another thing. The dissertation classes, when I spoke to Allison, she told me, she said, well, with Grand Canyon, when you're doing your doctorate, she said, you're going to as you go. I was like, okay, that sounds good. I said, I'm working on it as I go. And she said, once you do all your classes, your residency, she said, you'll have 3 dissertation classes. And she said, with those dissertation classes, you should be finished writing your dissertation. I said, so you're telling me by the time I finish those 3 dissertation classes, my dissertation will be done. By the time I finish that 3rd dissertation class, they still would not approve my prospectus. And I worked, I changed. No matter what I sent her, what she told me to do, I did it. She sent it right back to me. I even hired someone with a doctoral degree. When I would write the papers, I would send them to him. I would let him read them, and he would send back if it was some changes I need to make. I would make them, send it to her. She would send it right back. He said, Debra, I don't understand. He said, I don't understand. He said, she has an ego. He said, because there is nothing wrong. He said, I've looked over it, and once she sent it back and sent her comments back, and sometimes her comments can be pretty nasty. He said, I don't understand it. His name was Larry Ellis. He contacted me back, and so that's who I was working with. And I paid him good money. And so I was telling him, about what was going on. He was like, well, Debra, you need to let me know if you're going to go ahead and do this. Or because, see, at that time, he had asked me, he said, you might need to look into getting another chairperson. So I called Grand Canyon again. I was telling about, all the conversations I had with my chairperson, and how, she could be really, really nasty with her comments. Sometimes it's end up. So they told me, said, well, we suggest to you that you work it out between you, and my chairperson. She said, because even if you do try to, pursue another chairperson, it's no guarantee that I would get one. So it was like, you could try it, but she's really going to give you a hard time if you don't get a new chairperson. So, and I didn't know what to do. So, I stayed with her through those 3 dissertation classes. Well, when I got to my last dissertation class, now taking mine, I had all A's. I think I may have had 2 or 3 B's. She tells me she wants me to start completely over. Completely over.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, now what I want to ask is, what you just said to me was, you completed everything outlined in your enrollment agreement, everything outlined by Allison, your enrollment counselor.
Yes.
And then you got perfect grades, A's, in your dissertation classes. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I got an A in one, a B in the other one. But the last one, I got a C. She wants me to start completely over my 10 strategic points. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, I'm just in awe.
Okay, so let's go back and talk about, you attended 3 dissertation courses.
Yes.
And you got 3 A's in those courses?
Okay, no. The first one, I think I got an A. The second one, I may have gotten a B in that second one. But I know I got an A and a B. But I'm going to have to go and check. I think it was an A and a B. But then that last one, she gave me a C. And I think I got a B, because I think that the B I got, it was right at an A. It was really close to an A. She was absolutely horrible.
Now let me ask this question, if I can.
Sure. Oh, sure.
Have you read the course descriptions for those 3 dissertation courses?
Have Have I read them?
Yeah.
I read them probably at the beginning, but after all this happened, I just tried to erase everything out of my mind about it. Everything. Because, I mean, it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much for me right now. Because my last class was, I ended on January of last year. January the 11th was my last day. I told them, I said, I'm withdrawing. And do you know they were continuously calling me? No, I'm not going to enroll. I was like, why would I withdraw then re-enroll? That wasn't going to happen. So, but I'm telling you, I have just tried, I've totally just tried to block everything out of my mind. But she told me, because, and this is how I know I read it, because when I spoke with her, and she told me, I said, so you're telling me when I finish those three dissertation class, my dissertation will be done. She said, yes. That's one of the main reasons I enrolled. Because she told me when I finished, she said, because you're doing your dissertation as you go along. I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, that sounds good. I can handle that. Wasn't true. 3 dissertation classes and no perspective approved. She wanted me to start all over the 3rd class. Now, if you wanted me to start over, you're going to wait till my 3rd class to tell me? That made no sense to me. And she told me she wanted me to go back to my strategic points and start completely over.
And this is after how long? How long of working on your dissertation, I
had my dissertation classes. I was on my 3rd one, and I think each class lasted, like 2 months? I think it was 3 months. I think like 3 months. About 9 months. Mm-hmm.
So
about 9 months.
After 9 months of working on your dissertation, she wants you to start over at the beginning.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Unbelievable.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yes.
You're right. Definitely unbelievable. I'm telling you, I don't understand how they can do this to people and have no remorse. Have none whatsoever.
And on top of that, and they bill themselves as a Christian university. I mean, that's one of their biggest marketing points.
Yes, and that's what really get me. You're telling me this is a Christian university. And our residencies, it was a joke. Our residencies were a joke. All we did when we went to residency, they worked us. They made us work. I give them that much. I didn't learn anything. To me, I felt like when I went to my residencies, when I left, I was going to know what I needed to do to write my dissertation. That was not true. The stuff they had us doing, and then that first residency, every day we had 2 different professors. Well, one day, one professor told me my 10 strategic points was okay. The next day, the next one ripped it apart. So every day you had somebody different, and one was saying one thing. I didn't like that. So a lot of people complained about that. So the second residency, they kept the same professors the entire time. We didn't do anything. All they had us do was work on those strategic points. We were doing like PowerPoints, and it's like, oh, well, we're not going to do this when we're not going to do this, and we're going to meet one-on-one. They did not help me. It was more of a social gathering, because that's when we met like all our friends that were working on their doctoral degrees. It was worthless to me because I didn't learn. I left there. I didn't know any more when I left there than when I went. What they did was confuse us more than what we were already confused. I learned nothing. And, and that's when, and a lot of us, we still keep in touch. And that's the thing about it. We don't feel that residency was a help, because it didn't help us any. It didn't teach us anything we needed to know. When you said a Christian school, because do you know what the professors did every night? They sat down at the bar and got drunk every single night. Every night. I mean, every night. I was like, but this is a Christian school that you represent. This is what they did every night. Because what it was, we did my residence, I did them in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I can't even remember the name of the hotel. It's over there by the airport. And so they started happy hour like at 5 o'clock, and it went over to like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And when I tell you they be down there laughing loud and hanging all over each other, oh, anybody that went to residency, they can verify this. Yes, they can. That's what they did. Because you remember the lady that I asked you to add, Crystal?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I met her. And that we're the best of friends now. That's how I met her, was at residency. Oh, she can verify all of this. Every bit of it.
And she has the same experience.
Yes.
As you.
Yes, she has got that. I think she actually did one more class after I did, and she was like, I can't do this anymore.
So ultimately,
she's like, I can't do it.
Ultimately, you encountered a program where you completed every single parameter they laid out for you, and yet they did not give you the degree, and your grades reflect perfect scores. They reflect completion.
That's right. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because right now, I had like a 3.6, 3 point. It's like, so I'm just like, when I tell you I am so, that school is just, I mean, they have made my life miserable. Because it still bothers me. It bothers me a lot because I don't have the degree, and I did all that work. I spent all that money, and I still don't have a degree. It bothers me. And then I can't get into another school to get a doctoral degree because they will only accept one class. I cannot start all over again. It's too much. I've been through too much. I just can't do that again. I cannot do it again. It's rough. And you know, they even had me, the doctor had me on medication because I was having heart palpitations so bad that they thought something was wrong with my heart. Well, when they did all the tests, it was stress. It was stress. And so when they said it's stress, I said, and then I told them about what I had been through. They was like, yes, it's definitely stress. That's what's wrong with you. So I took the heart palpitation medication for a while. Then I came off of it, and I haven't had any more problems since. But I had to let go of what had happened to me. I just let it go. I had to let it go because, it was making me ill. I just try to forget everything about that place, everything I do. But what I was saying is like, a lot of times at night when I lay down, I'm in my bed and I'm just laying there, and I'm like, I should have this doctoral degree. All I've been through, all the time I put into it, all the money I spent, I should have this degree. And all that they told me that it would take to get that degree has been done. But yet and still, I have no degree. And that's a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard pill to swallow, I tell you. It's hard. But, and I just like, and I feel like, I'm sitting here, I'm going through all this pain and suffering, and, and they could care less. Because not only have they done it to me, look how many other people they have done it to. So it's like, they don't care about what they're doing to people or how they're destroying their lives. They don't even care. I'm telling you, I've cried many days. Many, many days. Many days. But, it's to the point now, it has gotten a lot better. But in the beginning, many days. Many, many.
You've cried because they didn't give you what you earned.
That's it. That's it. And, I could see if I didn't do what I was supposed to do to earn it, but I did. I did everything that I was told I was supposed to do. I did it. But I did what you asked me to do, but still no degree. So I'm like, so what else was I supposed to do?
Well, I'm going to keep working to put a voice to all the people. Our Facebook page, as you know, grows.
Right.
And it's growing.
Right.
And this is not an isolated incident. It's the same thing, and it's by no fault of yours. It's by no fault of mine. We did what we upheld what we said we would do.
Right. Can you imagine the money that they have made from but by deception? That's the bad part. It's by deception.
I'm gonna keep putting a face on this, and to know that we're not just a bunch of angry students. We're just a group of people who've been defrauded.
Right. Well, let me tell you. Well, when Joe did that story, nice guy. He kept in contact. He used to call me all the time. He said Grand Canyon contacted him and told him, said, well, these people that you're doing the story on, you need to pull their records. You will see that they're not the people that you think they are. I told him, oh, I wish they would have let you pull my records. And he said he think it was just a scare tactic because they didn't want him to do that.
So
I said, you could have pulled my.
And that they're saying.
I say I am.
They're saying that about us in that we're talking to Joe.
Yeah. Yes.
That's just.
It's ridiculous.
Amazing. Well, it doesn't surprise me based on what they've done to me.
I know you have been through a lot.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you are a strong-willed person. I'm telling you, well, I probably would have given up by now. Because I don't know how you have done it. You have been through a lot.
I have. You know what? I see your face. I see the faces of all the people that we talk to on Facebook, and that's what keeps me going, is because I'm not alone. Everyone's been through this.
That's right. That's right. But it's going to be okay. It's going to work out.
I hope so.
It's going to work out.
So. Thanks, Deborah.
And it was so good talking to you.
Same.
And like I said, if you need anything, just let me know.
And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know.
I sure will.
Okay.
All right. You have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.